Back in 1962, I think it was, I and three other guys were in the boat business. We had the ferry boats from here from the Balboa Fun Zone to Catalina. And somebody called us one day and said they had a boat for sale, or they knew of a boat for sale that we might be interested in having for our ferry boat trade. The only problem was it was sunk in the Carnegie, which is the harbor in Barbados. But it happened to be Franklin D. Roosevelt's presidential yacht, which had been sold to a private company who used it for passenger transportation until it broke down and finally sank in a shallow harbor, so only the engine room was full of water. So we sent a man down to have it hauled and surveyed and determined that it could be made seaworthy. And so we bought it at the auction for $25,000 and began repairing it. And we got one engine running, and we thought that would be fine. And so they asked me to take a crew of 10 men to Barbados to bring it back. And so I did, and they were men in various jobs. The captain was an assistant DA, or not assistant, he worked in the DA's office, another man too. And people from various walks of life that just took 30 days off to go for this trip, to bring back the boat. It's about a 30-day trip. When we got there, the insurance company informed us, and we had it insured because we'd borrowed the $25,000 to buy the boat. So we had to have it insured. The insurance company, Lloyd's of London, said, we're not insuring it unless both engines are running when you leave this harbor. Well, that was a problem because we took all the best parts off of both engines and put it on one to get it running. The rest of the parts were a mess. I spent another 3 months there. My crew deserted me after the 30 days because they had to get back to work. So I picked up a couple of hitchhikers going around the world from Santa Barbara, college-age kids, and they jumped off the sailboat they were on, our boat, because we were going back to California. Their boat was going to the East Coast. And two of the guys stayed with me. The first mate that I made the captain, and an assistant, kind of a workaway guy that worked in the kitchen, and I made him chief steward. So we had a captain and a cook. And then we worked on the ship until we got it ready to go. We had a lot of accidents along the way. I've got newspaper articles of when they moved the boat, they accidentally let it go and we banged into a bridge. And so I have newspaper articles that show some of these things. Our first trial run, and we got into a lot of trouble. But we took it out on a run. The word was that the ship would never leave Barbados. It would be scuttled there. It had become a major part of their economy for all the people we were hiring working on it, and they just didn't want it to go. So we said, my crew, when they deserted me, were going home. They told me on the 3rd of July that they were going to leave. I said, okay, tomorrow's the 4th of July. We're going to celebrate by taking the ship to sea and showing the people that we can actually leave this island. So we took it to sea on one engine, had a lot of problems getting out of the harbor. And this will all be a story that I'm writing in a book. And anyway, after we raised the boat and were cleaning it up and making everything go, we discovered this telescope hidden in a compartment in the boat up near the captain's cabin. We're sure somebody brought it onto the ship at some time, and the ship engraved on the end of it, which I can't quite see now, is McAllister and Brother, who sold this. They had them made, but they sold them in their hardware store in Philadelphia. And I did a search on the name, Google search on the name McAllister and Brother, and I came up with a website of the McAllister clan. And the first thing on the website was a picture of one of these telescopes, but in fine shape with the leather covering and the box it came in. And the next picture was a picture of the catalog showing this telescope for sale in Philadelphia in the McAllister and Brothers hardware store in 1850. So we believe it's an antique. The McAllisters want to know that it was on the Potomac when the president was, and I have told them I'm sure it was, because it's been there a long time, and as old as it was, I have a hunch that somebody donated that to the president because it was old then, when he, an antique almost when he was aboard. So anyway, somebody had broken it. They fiddled with it and it had kind of come apart and wouldn't open up properly. I fixed it so that it now does come, it is now workable. So anyway, it's here, the Potomac Association would like to have that, and maybe someday we'll part with it. But for now, it's here, and this is a jacket that a friend of mine bought for me at the Potomac Association. And just last April, they finally acknowledged the fact that the Potomac was ever out of the country. Well, they knew it was out of the country, but only to Puerto Rico. But they finally acknowledged the fact that it was sunk in Barbados, and that 7 Americans and 7 Barbadians brought it home from Barbados. And in April, they had their opening day cruise, and they invited the remaining living sailors to be on the boat. Well, only 2 of us were able to go of the 4 that are still alive that I can find. I can't find any of the Barbadians, though I've looked on 2 trips to Barbados for the sailors. Can't find any of them. But 4 of us Americans are still alive. And it was nice that they finally recognized it. The president of the association, Potomac Association, wants to edit my book. She is a professional editor. So I'll probably get it into their newsletter in installments and then ultimately publish a book of the rescue of the Potomac from Barbados. So that's probably the greatest claim to fame that I have, in my opinion, is rescuing that boat.